You're listening to the tale of two podcasters from the 2007 RAB TGO Challenge, brought to you by theoutdoorstation.co.uk.
This podcast is just one of a special series produced from a wealth of recordings made in May 2007 by two backpackers, Andy Howell and me, Bob Cartwright, as we made our way via two different routes from the west to the east coast of Scotland as part of the 2007 RAB TGO Challenge.
Here at RAB, we're pleased to be involved in the TGO Challenge, which is the perfect testing ground for our clothing and sleeping bags. RAB has a Scottish heritage and over 25 years' experience of making gear that performs in the varied weather of the Highlands, as well as gear for the highest peaks in the Himalaya.
Co-sponsors TGO, the Great Outdoors magazine, have been behind this May event since its inception in 1980. The framework and principle is totally unique. It isn't a race or a competition of any kind. The objective is to foster good fellowship amongst walkers within the framework of a challenging 200-mile expedition. The start consists of a series of sign-out locations on the west coast, from Torridon in the north down to Ardrishaig in the south. Each challenger, solo, couple or group makes their way via a high route, a low route or a mixture of the two across Scotland to finish anywhere between Arbroath and Fraserburgh on the east coast. There's a set 2-week window to do this in, and each participant submits their route for inspection prior to departure for safety and advice reasons. The places, however, are limited to 300, and details about the event, entry forms, past stories and photographs can be found in the October issue of TGO magazine and on their website. Each participant makes the challenge as easy or as hard as they wish. The extremes can be a remote high route, crossing wild country and not seeing another soul for days on end. Or a route which takes in the many social events, perhaps not camping at all and just using established accommodation all the way. Most people do a mixture of the two in different forms. This year I started with my wife Rose in the beautiful village of Plockton, and Andy Howell with his partner Kate started from Strathcarron. We both carried recorders with us to capture our audio diaries and conversations which took place with other walkers as well as locals as we made our way to the east coast. Yes, this is the tale and adventures of two podcasters. Well, the fourth morning of the trip. What is it? 14th of May. Monday, hurrah. Reasonable night, but blimey heck, it was cold. Thankfully, the sleeping system is working a treat, which is always nice to know when it gets cold, which is the RAB Quantum 400 bags, which Rose is still snuggled deeply down into. You sleep all right?
Not bad.
Bit louder?
Not bad. It was the owls, certain nighttime companions.
What did you
Night
think about
calls.
that? Are you referring to my snoring?
Yeah.
It's not snoring, it's merely breathing deeply.
Yeah, so much so I tried to find my earplugs.
Yeah, whatever. Moving on. And we've got the ProLite 3/4 thermarests, which have worked well, and a little sit mat, the inflatable sit mat. That the way we work it is that obviously once we've finished sitting around in the evening, we put the sit mat at the bottom where our feet lie. And that works very well indeed, because your feet then have got a sort of bit of insulation and support and comfort as well. Actually, I'm finding the softness of them quite quite pleasant compared to last year where we used a...
Just stuck our rucksacks underneath.
We just stuck our rucksacks under our feet, which do the job, but they're nowhere near as comfortable as... where's the clean water?
It's at the top here.
Thanks. Nowhere near as comfortable as these little inflatable sit mats. So as a sleeping system, very pleased with that. That works a treat. I'm just making a brew at the moment, as you can probably hear. It's our early morning...
silk sleeping sheets as well.
Early morning routine. Yeah, silk sleeping sheet liners. That works nice. Adds to the comfort. You're sleeping in a silk... oh, bugs. Don't like the breakfast. A silk shirt, aren't you?
Yeah, it was one of your base layers you had to try. But it looked a bit... yeah, it didn't really suit you.
Yeah, it was a base layer that I got from somewhere that was rather American, should we say, old-fashioned and square and yeah.
But it's ideal for me because it covers on the bottom and it's long sleeves, so it's really nice and warm. And because it's really small and silk, it just tucks away easily. It's just an improvement on what I had last year, which was just a...
What was last year?
I just had a little base layer, which was not as warm.
Tea. The weather looks good. I'm staring at the front of the tent at some sunshine, which hasn't quite hit us again. Although we've pitched where we could pitch last night, it's obviously not the perfect spot for first thing in the sunshine, first thing in the morning. It'll get round here eventually, but we'll probably be gone by then. So we're in the shadow of the trees at the moment, which is a shame because it could have helped dry out the tent, which has got a lot of condensation in it, thanks to the temperature last night, which, as I say, was fairly...
Coldest night yet. It was high. It's colder, I think, than when we were up on the pass.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it might be, actually. Might hear there's the odd car going past. I'm sure they're saying, "What are these strangers doing in our village?" Anyway, we'll be gone soon.
That was a very Scottish accent.
I know, it's the best I could do. At this time of the morning...
Lord of the Manor.
Do you know who I am? Right, well, that's about it, really. We're heading, as we said yesterday, we're going to head down towards Drumnadrochit today through the woods. I just thought I'd fire it up. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about was ticks. Sadly, seem to have been a little bit susceptible to ticks this year. Although Ticky Rose, as she got the name last year, had the record of 26 ticks.
7.
Oh, sorry, 27 ticks. After, where was that then? Kinbreek Brothy, wasn't it? Kinbreek, which is notorious for them, apparently. Coming out of Kinbreek. I've just been picking up odd ticks as we go through. And last night I had about 4 or 5, and you had a couple, didn't you?
Yeah.
And it's just frustrating. There's also these odd little mite-type things running around your legs. So I don't know where they've come from. And it's just like really irritating because if I was on my own, some of the ticks are around the centre of my back or at the back of my legs. It'd be pretty tricky to get to. But I've got a mirror and a pair of tweezers.
And you're not very good at contortionists, though.
I'm not very good at contortionists.
No.
Well, I'll just have to ask my bothy companions to have an inspection.
On your bottom?
I didn't say my bottom, I said round my back.
You had one on your bottom, what are you going to do then?
You've spoilt it now. Oh, dear. Anyway, tomorrow's our wedding anniversary. So we might start the day with a wedding anniversary tick inspection. See, 25 years. 25 years, my darling. I told you I'd look after you.
Me.
Stick with me. Anyway, that's something to look forward to, isn't it?
Well, I'm standing in the Fort Augustus campsite. Beautiful morning, sun shining, everybody drying off their tents and slowly packing up their gear Port Augustus, of course, is one of those points where you begin to meet lots of other challengers as they go through the Corioic Pass. And I came in last night and met two old mates from last year's challenge, Ant and Maurice. Maurice, how's it been this year?
Very good so far, yeah, very good. Weather's not been too bad at all. Few showers first thing yesterday morning and a wet night Saturday night, I think it was. But apart from that, we've got on quite well, yeah.
And
ready for the Corioic.
And where did you start this year?
We were in Shield Bridge Thursday evening and set off from there eventually into head up to Alp Bay, close to Loch Corwish on the Friday evening.
And you've had a bit of trouble with that knee, but it's not stopping you moving.
No, carrying on. Well, it's either stop out at home and do nothing at all, or come out and suffer a bit. So hopefully it will just about, and with Maurice's help, keep me going until I arrive on the East Coast somewhere.
Now, both of you have been buying some new kits since last year, and people always like to know about that. Two interesting packs, Maurice?
Yeah. Vapor trail, rucksack. Really pleased with it. I don't think there's anything I can fault on it.
And how much does it weigh?
I think it's about 780 grams, I think it is. It's got a good hip belt, good padding on the back, good padding on the shoulder straps, considering the weight anyway.
Quite good capacity, I think.
Goes up to 70 litres. And what I like about it, it's a nice slimline pack with no side pockets, and although it's got one pouches on the side which are quite handy, elasticated, but otherwise a nice straight slimline sack.
Good. And you've got an OMM pack.
Correct, yes. Maurice beat me to the Vapor trail sack at a particular time, so anyway, I've ended up with this one. It's still not the lightest. It's supposed to be about 1,500 grams. It says, I've read in a report, quite narrow, but it seems to have the capacity I want. Slightly flimsy stitching and such in places. But saying that, it's got the most comfortable hip belt, because normally I have to put loads of plasters all around my hips to stop me getting sore. But I've had no trouble at all with it, so with its little pouch on the front with all my drugs to keep my knee going and creams and God knows what. Yes, it's proving to do the job.
Now, you were using quite a heavy pack last year. Have you noticed the difference reducing weight?
I think with the supplies we keep picking up and everything, it's not a fair test. We just seem to be suffering one day and the next, and then it eases off. But I think overall it will make a difference, because I used to have the Mac pack and that was quite heavy and not always that comfortable. Where, as you say, this one's proven to be very comfortable.
Great. So over the Corioic today, and
Yeah.
then where are you heading for after that, Maurice?
We go up to Kingoosey and then down Glenfeshie. Yeah.
Beautiful Glenfeshie.
I'd just like to say the highlight of the walk so far is being met by Hamish Brown in his camper van and giving us a cup of tea along by the Tom Down Hotel there, which was a nice surprise. A lovely man, and I really enjoyed his books and programmes on the television in the past, so it was a highlight for me.
The man who created the challenge itself.
Exactly.
And it saved you going into the Tom Doon Hotel as well.
Yes, it did, and it was very welcome, a lovely chap, yeah, and it was a highlight of my walk so far.
Okay, well, I'll leave you to it, to pack up and have a good walk and see you along the route. And another challenger here is Peter Goodwin. How's it going so far, Peter?
Oh, it's fine. We've been extraordinarily lucky with the weather. Excuse my voice. I'm very croaky from a heavy cold and a cough. But wonderful weather. We've been very lucky.
It's stunning this year, isn't it? And the walking's been okay?
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, very good.
And where are you off to today?
Along just over the Corioic, and as far as when we get somewhere nice, the other side of the Corriaric we'll be camping, probably just past Melgarve. I expect we'll see quite a few people along the way.
Now, this isn't your first challenge, is it?
No, I've done 7 so far. I never say the next one until I've done it.
And do you do it every year, or do you have a break every now and then?
I've done it most years, pretty well in a row, but several times didn't get on it, but got on it within 2-3 days to spare, and I've made that many friends, some wonderful people on it, and some of them are so funny, such strange characters that, you know, it's always great to come back to.
It is. And how do you cope with that business about being told with 2 or 3 days to go, OK, you can walk across Scotland in a couple of days?
Well, you're a little bit sort of panicky, but somehow it works out.
Yeah. And are you going for the Big 10?
Oh, yes, eventually, definitely. Oh, yes. Yes, definitely.
OK, well, you're packing up now. I'll leave you to it. Thanks very much. Have a good trip, Peter. Also at Fort Augustus is Jonathon Smith, and Jonathan's in one of the many actos that seem to cluster around these campsites as if they're breeding. There must be a collective noun for actos, but I can't think of what it is. You enjoying your trip so far?
I am, yes, very much so, yeah.
And where did you start, Jonathan?
Shieldbridge.
Yeah. And heading up over the Corriaric Pass today?
No, I'm going over the ridges there to Dalbeg and over to, eventually to Aviemore. A couple of nights camp over there, I imagine.
Oh, right, so it's a slightly different route to the one that most people are taking.
Yeah, a bit of high camping I quite like, not wild camping and that, yeah.
Yeah, I think the wild camping is almost as much of the experience as the walking is.
Definitely so, yeah, I think so. I mean, it's nice to stop on a campsite like this, you can have a wash and all that, but the best part for me is over the ridges here, definitely.
Yeah. And where does your route take you afterwards?
I went down the Clooney Road for a couple of 3 mile, I think, and then went right up over the ridges. I can't remember the name of the ridges, Clooney Ridges. Well camped up there, did the peaks there, dropped down into Glenquash, I think it's called. Crossed the River Loyne, I think, and over to Tom Doon. Popped into Tom Doon. Met Hamish Brown, which was quite nice.
Yeah, a few people have met Hamish Brown in his camper van.
Apparently, so I didn't see the camper van, but I saw him making. He said he thought I was sitting at the table, and he said he'd made cups of tea and coffee for other people along the way, which was very good of him, I think. He just come from Skye, he said, Isle of Skye, he said, and then I carried on down the road for another mile or 2 and camped, and then headed on here.
Great. And after Aviemore, down towards Braemar or Ballater?
I'm going to the Cairngorms, hopefully to do a few Munros over there, and a possible high camp again, and then down to Braemar over to Lochnagar, down to Tarfside eventually, and on to Stonehaven.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll meet again at Tarfside. It's always a good place.
Yeah, it was a good time last year. I enjoyed it. That's what's making me go back again, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Is this your second challenge, or you done?
Second one. Yeah.
You enjoyed it so much last year.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, very much so. I did it with a friend last year, and I did more of a lower level, mid-low level routes. But I'm more for the wall camp and high mountains and that. So, third one of my own, I've got a choice.
Well, it looks as if you've got some spectacular weather for the next week for wild camping.
Cracking weather, isn't it? Yeah, at the moment. I mean, the weather has been good so far anyway, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You can't complain anyway. So, stays like this will be brilliant.
Yeah. OK, well, Jonathan, good luck. Have a good time, and maybe see you at Tarside.
OK, thank you, Andy.
Tucked away in the corner of the campsite is Susanne, and this is her first challenge. You having a good time?
Yes, it's great. We have good weather actually, and no, it's fun.
The weather's absolutely fantastic, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We had actually only a few rain showers over the last couple of days, and so far the weather is actually keeping quite well. So it's I like it.
And where did you start?
I started in Shieldbridge.
Yeah.
On Friday night.
And over the Corriaric Pass today?
Yeah, down to Garvey Bridge if possible. And then tomorrow on to Phoney and on so on.
Yeah, Garvey Bridge is about as far as you want to go today. Yeah.
It looks quite far, and we calculated it out, and that's enough. So.
Yeah, it's just a long slog up and then down again.
Thank you for the motivation, but kind of.
And you're using a laser. How are you getting on with that?
Good. It's I have enough space being on my own, and so it's like enough space outside also to cook if the weather turns nasty. And I had it in wind at some point, like strong winds, not storm yet, and it was actually surprisingly good. So yeah.
It's good, and it's a strange colour. It's blue. I've not seen a blue laser before.
There are, I think, only 4 blues out there. They had this test run, and they tested blue, but they thought green and red is better, and so they stick to that. And yeah, I think it's a bit smaller. I sometimes check with other people's, and their fly sheets seem to be slightly bigger. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah. And so from Garver, where does your route take you then?
Over Phoney, down into Glen Feshy, and then on to Braemar, over to Tarfside at some point, and then St. Cyrus. And
well, you meet loads of other challenges at Braemar, and Tarfside is something not to be missed.
You can't miss the challenges on any spot. They're everywhere. You're coming even towards you in the kind of weirdest places. So it's like, yeah.
And they seem to be coming from all different directions, don't they?
It's like I had this on Saturday. On Saturday. And I thought, aren't you supposed to go that way? And no, they just started somewhere else and gone. So yeah.
Yeah, we started at Strathcowan and we're kind of going southeast, but there were people who started lower than us going northeast.
Yes,
so
exactly.
we were crossing all kinds of places. Okay, well, have a great crossing, and maybe see you along the road somewhere else.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
So it's 11:20 and we've been beetling on. We set out this morning at 8:30. There was a stiff frost last night. No wonder it was felt fairly chilly in the tent, and there's certainly plenty of evidence of it around us as we got up and prepared ourselves. The last 2 times we've used the tent, the old Lightwave Trek T2 Ultra. It's performed brilliantly well, but there's been absolutely no breeze whatsoever, so the condensation that's formed inside it has been annoying, but it's one of those things. Certainly the fly sheet was wet, the inner was fine. So we've taken the opportunity, because as you know, we were under the impression the weather today was going to be pretty foul, to take the lower level route round to Drumnadrochit, and now that we've made it to a ford by the river Enrilk, is that right? Enric, the River Enric. We've strung up a line between a signpost and a couple of walking poles, and I'm now airing the tent, and Rose is brewing up a brew of porridge with fruit britale, as we like to call it, which is always a nice way to start the day, so that's good. We set off this morning, as I say. We didn't go into Tomwich. We cut through the forest over to a couple of lochs where there's a wind farm marked on the map, and I was particularly curious to see that because I wanted to see if it was true about the noise they made and experience one close up, because I've never actually seen one in the wild, as it were. I've only seen pictures of them. But for some reason, it wasn't there. The cabling and everything else was there, so perhaps it's something that's planned. However, they were next to a couple of lochs whose names I will not attempt to pronounce. And we stood for a few moments getting some updated text messages from family and watching some gentlemen on a Monday morning rowing out in a boat and start to fly fishing, which I thought was a very civilised way to start the week on a Monday morning. Yes, my heart went out to them as we struggled on up the hillside with our packs. So we came through the forest, which was fine, bit boggy, but apparently this glen along here, so some other challengers tell us, is particularly pretty. We're looking forward to that, and the weather is, sunny periods, as they say, so we're quite happy at the moment. The cooker is going away, and you can hear breakfast being prepared by the chef. So we thought we might do a quick mini equipment review of the clothing that we're wearing, that we have been wearing for the last few days, because it's been fairly changeable, wet at times, mainly cold, that cold wind again, but we really haven't changed very much, and we're also experimenting with a few items as well. So I'll hand you over to Rose, and she'll run through what she's been wearing from a girlie's point of view, and then I'll do the boys.
Well, base layer. Last year I had some very pretty Dorothy Perkins pants which fell to bits by the end of the challenge. So
nothing to do with me.
So I actually invested in some Bango and pants, and they've been brilliant actually. Not very
Baudet.
yeah, Baudet, I beg your pardon. They're not very attractive, sort of grey, but they're brilliant because they're very comfortable, and you can wash them out at night and they're dry in the morning. So that's been good.
And to be fair, they're shaped like proper pants, aren't they? They're not these sort of odd things.
Well, yeah, they're just but it's quite nice cut considering it's just they're not.
That's what I was trying to say.
Thank you.
They're not unpleasant on you. That's what I'm saying. They're a pleasant cut.
And then I got a Mac Pack sort of bra top and a little vest top which I bought years ago and I've used it lots, and it's sadly can't find them anymore. And over that I've had sort of my main layer has been one of the Montaigne Gazelle jackets, which actually has worked really well. It's a full zip, a bit like their Kinetic, and that's worked really well. It's a bit of wind resistance, a bit of fleecy lining, but also great if you're working hard because it's got sort of stretch air panels under the arms and down the sides, and quite nice fit as usual with the Montaigne stuff. Montaigne Terra pants, fantastic as ever. Just worn them constantly. I put my gaiters on once, but didn't really need them because of the button at the bottom of the Terra pants. They've just been so good that I haven't really needed it. Montaigne wind shirt, Superfly, in and out and pack all the time. And then when it's absolutely poured down, waterproof Superfly jacket, which is absolutely terrific. Used it last year, and it's just superb. I just love it. Really breathable. The
wind shirt's is the light speed. That's the wind shirt, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. The light speed, the full zip one, and the Superfly. It's just great cut. Just works really hard. Event material, breathes brilliantly. So that was really good. I suppose I mentioned before my waterproof trousers are a bit of the disappointment. The Go Light ones, just from the fact they haven't got a full zip and I can't put them on and off without taking my boots on. Socks, mostly Spark Wool, but I've got a pair of X socks, light trekkers, ladies, and actually worn those the last 2 days, and they've been much better than I anticipated considering the terrain we've been over, so I've been quietly impressed with those. But I don't know if I shall tell Rob that, who's the Go Light rep that we see, but I think I'll have to say to him, they've done really well. So that's me really, a couple of buffs, small beanie hat, and that's my lot.
And you've also got your ear defenders, the windshield ear defenders, and the down. You've got a Go Light down jacket.
Yeah, my Go Light down jacket. I wouldn't leave home without that these days. As soon as we stop or in the evening, I put it straight on, and if it's particularly cold, put it in the sleeping bag, and it's just saved my life because I'm a cold person at heart, and that's worked really brilliantly. I love that.
Of course, that's not all Rose has brought with her, but that's basically what she's been wearing for the last 3 or 4 days. And remarkably, she doesn't smell, so it's got to be good stuff. In my case, Terra pants, they're the absolute must, really. Do everything they say on the tin. They get wet, they dry quick, they keep the heather out. I can't live without them. I think they're fantastic trousers. Bionic tee, I've been wearing that every day. I wear a long sleeves tee at night time when I go to bed. But the Bionic tee's been worn solidly for the last 4 days and doesn't smell. I've got I'm actually fully Montaigne, I think. I've got the Montaigne Kinetic, which I swear by, and that's the reason I recommend Rose got her Gazelle. It's a sort of like a power stretch material, so there's a bit of warmth to it, but it's the wicking ability and the comfort factor. There's something nicely balanced about the material in that product, and that works well as my sort of mid layer. Really, the extra thing that I've brought this year, normally I just manage with that and a wind shirt. Although I've got the same as Rose has, the light speed, I haven't actually had that out of its bag because I've got an old Montaigne gilet, which is it's not Primaloft, and I think it's DuPont. Bit of insulation in there, and I find most of the time that I manage quite happily with the gilet and just the base layer, the Bionic tee and bare arms, or all three with the Kinetic, and then of course when it has rained, out comes the Montaigne Superfly jacket, and my waterproof trousers are the full zipped variety of the Berghaus, the the name of which escapes me, but they're Gore-Tex ones, which are brilliant because I can get my big fat feet through them very quickly. And I've tried to get Rose to buy some this year, but she wouldn't have it, so there you go. And we've suffered a few times because of it, because when the rain suddenly comes in, she's had to stop and get wet, sadly, while she's had to take her boots off, which has been frustrating. But that's totally what I've been wearing most of the time. Then I've got 2 or 3 buffs.
Hang on. We had this conversation this morning about...
They're emergency towels.
You know what they say about ladies and hats or bags?
They're emergency towels.
My daughters do not get this fetish from me, it's from my husband. Bob has brought, let me explain to you, 3 different buffs, okay, 3.
Well, everything goes with black.
Colour combinations, obviously. A Tilly hat, which he didn't bring last year. A mountain hat to bring over his ears.
Which I have worn the mountain hat when it has been cold, yeah.
A little beanie.
No, I haven't brought a beanie.
I thought you had.
No, I haven't brought a beanie.
Sure?
Yeah, I promise, cross my heart.
An ear protector.
Yes, in case it was windy on the tops, but I haven't got that far because I've used the mountain hat.
And
we bought a Glengarry as well when I was in Edinburgh. A Glengarry is like it's a piper's hat. My mother was a Wallace, so I was suddenly inspired as I walked past a Scottish kilt shop to buy something and carry it across. So my mother departed several years ago, so it was just something I felt on impulse to do. But actually, as a warm hat, when it's not too windy, it's been fantastic. It's been a really good warm hat.
You look very handsome, darling.
Oh, thank you so much. But I've now got a selection of headwear for the rest of the trip.
To join the multitude he has at home, I might hasten to add.
Right, well, the weather has changed. While we've been sitting here doing this, and the tea has been made and breakfast has been prepared, the wind has suddenly picked up, the temperature's dropped, the clouds come over, and it does look like the rain is threatening. So we'll bring this to a close, and we'll go through the rest of our rucksack at a later stage.
Plus, I'm eating all the digestive biscuits. He's getting worried now.
And that's the last ones we've got until we get into Drumnadrochit. So I'm going to tuck into my cup of tea, my biscuits, and we'll pick up a bit later on.
I've heard it said that Scotland is a country in which you can have 4 seasons in one day. And that kind of sums up today's journey. We left Fort Augustus in splendid sunshine and climbed up over the Corryarrick Pass. Weather not bad really, quite a lot of sun, the occasional shower, and we took a break at Blackburn Bothy. We still had some sunshine, but then we had hail. And then as we crossed over the Corryarrick Pass, the weather turned a bit nastier. A lot of rain, then some hail, and then as we descended, a really bitter wind cutting through. And but we had a good day, and we met quite a lot of nice challengers, all struggling over, and all muttering very much about the state of the pass itself. But how did you think about today, Kate?
Well, it's been a good day, but on the descent down from the Corryarrick Pass, which is quite a long way and it's quite steep, I found that my left knee was beginning to give me quite a lot of trouble, and so there were times when I was feeling distinctly uncomfortable on the way down, and I was certainly glad to get here and get myself tucked up in the sleeping bag and have some dinner inside me.
So we're going to give the knee a couple of days. We've got a reasonably flat day tomorrow, and so we'll have a look, see what the knee's doing, and if need be we might have to do a bit of changing of the route. I think one of the things that's always wise on an event like this is to be prepared to change as circumstances change. One of the things that was interesting today was coming down the Corryarrick Pass, where the erosion is pretty bad. In fact, I came over last year, and the erosion in 12 months seems to be pretty dramatic. At some points, the road surface has almost virtually vanished now. I wonder whether that's one of the reasons so many people we've met seem to be taking the ferry over to the north of the Monolith and then crossing down to Grantown or Aviemore. But it's certainly a mess, and it doesn't look as if there's much path maintenance going on there. I just wonder whether over the next few years the Coryaric Pass is going to become less popular in terms of a crossing point. Certainly I don't think we met anybody today, did we, who actually enjoyed the experience?
No, everyone seemed to find it quite hard work. It's a long schlep up from Fort Augustus. Fort Augustus itself was really pretty, and it was lovely on the campsite last night, so we were quite slow to get going this morning, taking advantage of the good weather and the good facilities. And then it's a long way up to reach the actual Coryaric Pass, and then, as you say, the path on the way down seems to be very broken up, and so I think everybody that we've met seemed to be finding it quite a slog and quite hard going, and pushing on this last few miles, couple of miles into Garver Bridge was quite hard work, I'd say.
So there were at least 15 people that vow they're never going to do the Coryaric Pass again. Well, we shall see. Anyways, we pitched the tent in bitterly cold winds and driving rain, and true to form, almost as soon as we got everything unpacked and we got into the tent, and the rain stopped and the sun came out, and it's now a kind of calm early evening. And tomorrow we've got quite an easy day. We're walking from here to Lagan, where we'll go to the pub and have real food for lunch. Oh, the treats that you have stuck up in store for you tomorrow, it's fantastic. And then a short trip to the campsite at Glen Trewim. We can have a look at the knee and then think about where we go from there.
That concludes this part of The Tale of Two Podcasters from the 2007 RAB TGO Challenge, brought to you by theoutdoorsStation.co.uk.